Hi, this is Victor Antonio. Today we want to talk about effective sales presentations. Now, before we get started talking about a sales presentation, I have to make certain assumptions. Now, let's go through this. I have to assume first that you truly understand your product. You're very familiar with your product, you're familiar with your system. If it's a service, that's fine. You're familiar with that service. So let's make that assumption that you are familiar with your product or service. The second assumption we're going to make is that you're familiar with your market. In other words, what's your total available market, what specific industry you focus in on, and who are your target clients that you typically go after. So again, let's go ahead and make that assumption as well. The third assumption is that you have a sales process. Remember, we've talked about this in other videos, that you have to have a simple sales process. Now, in your sales process, there's a presentation step. Today we're going to be focusing in on just the presentation piece. So again, I assume also that you have already an established sales process. Very important, very important. Last but not least, let's kind of set the scenario up. You're going to do a presentation, right? You're going to walk in and do a presentation. I have to make one final assumption, that the key players are in the room. Now, I use the acronym MUTE to remind me of the types of key players that I want in the room. Let's go through them. The first one is M. That's either management or high-level executives, like a CEO. Now, you want those people in there because they need to make certain decisions on whether to buy or not buy, right? The go or no go. So it's always key to have those in there. The U stands for user. If you're selling a product, you want to make sure that the users are there to give you feedback or give the technical people feedback on how easy the product is to use and how accepting they're going to be of the product. Third is the technical people, right? These are the people that are going to tell you whether it's technically feasible or not feasible to use the product you're trying to sell them. Last but not least is E for the economic buyer. This is like purchasing agents, people who make financial decisions also have to be in the room. Now let me clarify something. When we talk about a B2C sale, business to consumer, one-on-one or one-on-two, it's a very simple sale, and maybe this is one person all in one. But in a complex sale, these people are different departments, different groups. And sometimes, as we're doing our presentations, we'll have to talk to maybe the management team by themselves, maybe talk to separately the users, or maybe separately the technical people or the economic buyers. And we're going to talk about how you're going to approach this in your sales process. But again, before we can move forward, let's make the assumptions. You understand your product, you understand your market, you have a sales system, and you also know who the key players are in your market that you really need to get addressed. So what we're going to do now is jump into what we need to do to actually address these key players to help them get over the hump so they can buy your product or your service. Let's move on to the first video.